Hey guys, what is up and welcome back to Cage Chat Breaking News. Now what a 10 days it has been for the UFC. We have some bad and some good, and we're starting off with what happened last week with Conor McGregor. Now Conor McGregor did get arrested after smashing and taking a fan's phone, or fan's phone should we say. Now this happened early Monday, I think it was Monday night going to Tuesday morning for the UK, and it broke out that he'd been arrested with a $12,500 bond and was later released that day. Now, it was 5 AM in the morning, and for me, although I don't condone what Conor McGregor has done and his actions, I feel like it's been taken a bit of the 5 minutes of fame for the victim here, and he's taking a bit too far. He did speak to Daily Mail, TMZ. Now, Daily Mail in the UK is not something that is very popular, especially in the sports industry, with their journalism. So he's come out and sold his story. He hasn't been factual with his story, he hasn't been consistent with his story at times, but the right thing did happen, and Conor McGregor does have to stop getting himself into so much trouble after UFC 229, after the bus incident last year, and with what's going on in Conor McGregor's world right now. It's not great for him. We just want to see him back in the octagon if he's going to fight again, which looks like he has and is going to do in July. Now following on during the week, Conor McGregor also made the headlines with Max Holloway. So yes, Max Holloway tweeted him in response when he was in Boston. Conor McGregor did his for St. Patrick's weekend, and they had a bit of the back and forth. Now, Max Holloway said how anyone could beat a 21-year-old Max, but at 25 years old he was the champ, whereas Conor McGregor was 25 when he beat a 21-year-old Max. Now, 25-year-old Holloway has become one of the best featherweights of all time, and they are back and forth with the ACL injury, and it looks like there could be something in the mix for a Max Holloway 2 versus Conor McGregor, or Conor McGregor Holloway 2 in the summer. Now this is all independent of what happens of this UFC lightweight interim championship match between Poirier and Max Holloway. It's difficult because you give them an interim championship, then they have to wait out till Khabib returns. Now if Max Holloway wins, is he going to defend that featherweight championship in that time? Going to 55 then 45 back to 55 in a year is probably a difficult one for him, and we don't want to see what almost happened last year with his weight cutting issues. So it's almost a win-loss sort of thing for Max Holloway. If he wins, he becomes the champ and the interim champ in the lightweight division. If he loses, you've got a good fight there between Max and McGregor. Now I don't think McGregor is going to fight at 145 next, but I don't think also you can count it out. He is a crazy guy, and you can almost see him cutting back down to 145, going through the featherweight division again, and going back to lightweight. Now this all depends on what he wants to do, but personally I don't think he's going down to featherweight anymore. But seeing a Max Holloway rematch in the same division it happened previously would be exciting. Now obviously you've got Poirier on that side too. Now on a positive, and sticking to British MMA, we have Michael Bisping, who did get announced into the UFC Hall of Fame across UFC London's coverage, and how deserved it is. It's something brilliant for British MMA. He is the pioneer for the likes of Darren Till, Leon Edwards, arguably MVP, Paul Daly. These people have a name because of Michael Bisping and what he done. He became champion after a grueling run in that middleweight division. He started off at light heavyweight, cut down to 185 eventually, and of course that night against Luke Rockhold in the first round, and what a career he's had, and he's continuing that career in movies. He's also part of the coverage for ESPN now on the UFC, and a fantastic addition with his quips and his jokes and his sarcasm at times, the ultimate Brit, you can almost say. So yes, he did get announced for the Hall of Fame, and hopefully the first of many for British UFC and MMA fighters. Now sticking to UFC London, we did have the breakout of Jorge Masvidal versus Leon Edwards backstage of the UFC London after both won their fights in the co-main and main event. Now Jorge Masvidal did go up to Leon Edwards after Leon Edwards was talking some nonsense, bit of trash talking, maybe for an upcoming fight between those two, who knows, and Jorge Masvidal did throw some hands and almost got 2 wins in one night. But similar to what happened in UFC 229, this isn't as harsh to me as that one. UFC 229, the Khabib incident where against Dylan Dennis, it was in the octagon, it was in the arena itself. It could have done a lot more harm than had it been backstage. Now, it looks like Jorge Masvidal isn't going to get any repercussion for this. Dana White has come out and said it's more on security to do their job rather than the fighters not doing their job backstage, and that these things will happen between two people that are going to and be happy to do it anywhere. I'd probably like to see a fine, potentially, not as harsh as Khabib's, and maybe it's hard to do a ban. You can't ban him for 3 months and give them a $10,000 fine. It's a difficult one, so maybe we've got to the right decision there. But it did tarnish what was a beautiful performance from Masvidal, who did get a KO victory against Darren Till, which I will be covering in Cage Chat later this week. And finally, TJ Dillashaw, which has just broke today, has relinquished his bantamweight championship. This is after a test from USADA came back positive for his fight against Cejudo. Now, TJ has obviously been very open about his nutrition, his weight cutting ability with George Lockhurst, especially on Joe Rogan's podcast. And it's a shame to see him. He's had a very poor 2019, of course. He was on the verge of becoming champ in January, lost that fight, and now he's, of course, lost his championship in the 135-pound division, which is a very open division with the likes of Petty Yan. We've got Marlon Moraes there, of course. Those two are probably fighting out for that title. Cody Garbrandt is on a losing streak, so I don't see him in that. And Dominic Cruz is injured. So yes, a dark time, of course, with John Jones testing positive last year. We've now got TJ Dillashaw. And TJ Dillashaw is almost one of the good guys in MMA. So he's been banned for a year, which is a retrospective of the fight date, which is January 19th. So we won't be seeing him throughout 2019. Maybe a time to move up to 145 potentially for him. It's not been put in the open what he's been tested positive for. It's just a banned substance. Now, whether this is weight cutting issues for the 125 fight that he had, because he's obviously been clean in his 135-pound history, or so it seems. So probably weight cutting or testosterone is one of the two substances that he's used. It's whether it's been a tainted supplement or he's been doing it off his own back, which I would find surprising, if all honesty. So yes, it has been an incredible 10 days, both good, both bad, and some thrilling times for the UFC this week. And of course, the ESPN Plus 7-year deal, now where you can get pay-per-views from ESPN Plus, also broke this weekend. So yes, that has been the breaking news this past week in the UFC, covered on Cage Chat for you. Drop a like, subscribe, and I'll see you on Cage Chat UFC London.